Welcome, everyone. My name is Cassie McKell, and I'm one of the owners of Lowdown Bar in Collingwood. So thank you for joining the panel tonight as we can discuss the craft beverage industry here in Collingwood. So I'll introduce myself a little bit more to start. So both the town of Collingwood and craft beverages run deep in my veins, is something I would say. My father worked at Canadian Mist Whiskey Factory here in Collingwood for over 30 years, making whiskey. And growing up, my mom worked in the LCBO. So the family joke was always that my dad made it and my mother sold it. The other thing was that at all of our family dinners, I would say there was either an element of beer, a spirit, or wine, because the only cookbooks that we ever had in our house growing up were the Food and Wine magazine. So I come by it honestly. I want to acknowledge Martin Ridlow for asking me to participate as part of this panel tonight, and thank him for his enthusiasm in pulling together this wonderful event. Tonight we will be speaking to 8 different panelists who are representing different kombucha breweries and distilleries right here in Collingwood. So I'm just going to give this another moment. It looks like we still have a few people joining, last minute people. So, and then we're going to go ahead and introduce each of the members of our panel tonight. So once I call out your name, if you could just make sure you unmute yourself and then give us a quick introduction of who you are and who you're representing. All right, let's start with Christy.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Christy with Collingwood Kombucha. What are we saying, Cassie? That's it?
Yeah, who you are, where you're from.
What do you want me to say?
And
I'm the owner of Collingwood Kombucha. Boom.
And how many years has Collingwood Kombucha been around for?
We have been in operations commercially for 2.5 years now, I think. But really being serious in the last year. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Next, I'll go to
nice
Chris.
To be with y'all.
Everyone, my name is Chris Freeman. I am the head brewer, general manager, and co-founder of Collingwood Brewing. I've been down here now for about 6.5 years.
Welcome. And Peter.
What's up, world? I'm Peter Braul. I'm one of the brewers at Black Bellows. We just opened our brew pub downtown in January, mid-January, closed her down a couple months later. So we're happy to be back up and running, but been really one of the craziest years of anyone's life, really. So.
Jay?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jay McKell. I'm with Northwinds Brewhouse and moved to Collingwood here in 2005, and I've been with Northwinds since its inception in 2014 or just before that.
Scott.
Hi, everyone. I'm Scott from Heretic Spirits. I'm the founder and the CEO and also the head distiller. And we've been in operation, well, we started the company 4 years ago, but after 3 years of licensing and excruciatingly hard work, we managed to finally get in the LCBO December 15th. So I'd say we're really in full operation for the last year.
Okay, and Shelley?
Hi, my name is Shelley Johnston. I'm with Freshwater Distillery, nipping at Scott's heels from all the licensing and everything else that you have to go through. We're just in our first year. We just got into the LCBO pretty much now, so that's good. And I am a co-founder and head distiller.
Great, and David?
Hi, I'm Dave Sands. I work at Side Launch Brewery in Collingwood, like the rest of these folks in the area. Side Launch has been in the operation for almost 6.5 years now. I think the opening times are pretty tight between Northwinds, Collingwood, and this place. It's been a point of contention, or at least over beers. At any rate, I've been here now, 3-4 years, coming December. And I'd say I'm in charge of operations and brewing, but I do whatever the rest of the group needs to be done to make them successful, up to including taking out the trash. So happy to be here and talk to some folks.
And Josh, great timing because we're just going through introductions and it is your turn. So tell us who you are and where you're from. You're muted. Unmute first.
Thank you.
You're good.
Yeah, wow. Jump right in. Sorry, I have a newborn. We're struggling through some baby things. I'm Josh Beach, I guess. I've been distilling for 10 or so years. Did my master's at Harriet Watt in brewing and distilling, opened a distillery in Vancouver, launched the Gretzky program in Niagara, and then got wooed up here to be the head distiller for Georgian Bay Spirit Co. So that's a short bit.
Yeah, so that's the panel, everyone. So now if you have a glass or a can or whatever you're drinking, let's all give a toast to one another. So cheers. Welcome.
Everyone.
And thank you everyone at home who's joining us. If you're at home, make sure you're having a drink too. So we're gonna go through some questions with the panel here. If you'd like to answer, raise your glass or raise your hand, and then we'll jump from one person to another and try to work our way through everything. So first question, whoever would like to answer, but why Collingwood? Why did you choose that this was the town that you wanted to open your business? Scott.
Well, why not Collingwood? I'm not being rhetorical. It's absolutely fabulous. I've said it in the last meetings we've had to. I personally, for my family and my business, every person on this call I know pretty well. In fact, some of you really well. This is the most energetic, enthusiastic environment for entrepreneurialism I've ever been around. And I find that the support for each of us, even between like Shelley and Josh and I mean, Josh and I have become friends and Shelley and I have become friends, and we all support each other wherever we can. This is a really great spot to work and to live.
Thanks, Scott. Chris, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I would certainly echo Scott's comments there. I mean, we opened 6.5 years ago, but the planning for this place really began, I want to say 8 years ago. I actually am a graduate of the Niagara College Brewing program, and I went there with the intention of moving up here one day. At the time, if you can imagine, that there wasn't really anything except in Barrie and Creemore Springs. So it seemed like, I didn't know Collingwood that well, but it was a beautiful place and just desperately needed some craft beer and all sorts of other craft.
That's great, thanks. So I'm going to move on to the next question. And what is special about your product or in your company? You know, a little background on that. Anyone want to speak? Christy, do you want to jump in on that one? I think you have a pretty special product.
Sure. Thanks, Cassie. Yeah, so kombucha, it's non-alcoholic, so it's pretty exciting to be a part of a community that accepts a non-alcoholic beverage into this idea of craft beverages, because you know, for us, it's really about having a symbiotic community and a symbiotic culture. And so because kombucha is made with a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, it became really relevant, or it became really obvious to me that there was an opportunity to support people who were non-drinkers. And being in Collingwood, where there are so many people who are active and take health as a serious concern for their families and for themselves, what a great opportunity to offer them something that they can put into a nice glass, can even mix with alcohol if you want. But yeah, so I think that kombucha is a really exciting category of beverage. We're called functional beverage because of the opportunity for health benefits. And we're excited to be a part of a great community of people who have supported us in understanding the fermentation process and the bottling process and the production and everything else. So happy to be a part of this crew. Yeah.
Thanks, Christy. Shelley, I'd love to hear from you too on the same question. What's special about your product?
Sure, no problem. I mean, freshwater we started up in Collingwood because we love it here. And also we wanted to see and help our local community. So we decided as we grow as a business, we're trying to keep things as local as possible. Like our dark water here, like we use all the apples from Dunshroon Cidery. So we actually deal with them a lot. And as Scott was saying, like we all play nice with each other and it's a great spirit up here. So it kind of jived well with our company philosophy of pretty much whenever we try to source even our ingredients, we don't cut out the middleman if they're from Ontario. And even now with COVID times, we're kind of proud of that because even though it's a little more expensive, it actually, we believe in kind of giving back and giving jobs and kind of dealing with that as well. So we just wanted a clean product that's a little more, we try to be a little bit more responsible.
That's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Christy.
Cassie, can I say something else? I didn't answer the question the way I wanted to.
Go for it.
Something that's really special. Something that's really special. Thanks, Shelley. Something that's really special about Collingwood kombucha is that we make our kombucha in oak barrels. My mentor when I first started was Gary McMullen, who started Muskoka Brewery. And the first thing he told me was, I'm a craft producer and I needed to go into oak. And I listened to him, and it's been such an exciting way to produce kombucha and to just extract flavor and deal with a natural environment. And with that, we have a collaboration with wineries to take their barrels when they're done and repurpose them and repopulate the bacterias and the culture of the wood with kombucha. So that's a really unique and exciting thing. There's like 3 or 4 producers in the world who are actually using oak barrels for kombucha making. So that's something really unique to us.
That's really cool. Next question is, how are you collaborating with other producers, restaurants, and the broader community? I'm going to ask Peter, what do you want to say to something about that?
Oh, thanks. That's actually something that's super important to us. Like the community has always been one of the 3, we always say we're about craft and community and creative. That's basically the 3 elements that make Black Bellows kind of what it is. So we always have to be thinking of different ways we can collaborate. Just recently, I was out in Thornbury. We managed to make a nice blend of coffees at Good Grief, and we're going to be pouring that in the tap room, for example, and then we're going to turn that around and make a coffee stout with that blend, or maybe even something else. So we're always looking to work with other businesses on like, and not just like on one-off kind of things, but more of on a continual basis. I picked up some yeast from Flying Monkeys in Barrie the other day. Now it looks like we'll turn around and do a neat beer with them in the future. I've done tons of stuff with Chris. It's amazing. So we're just super happy to always be sourcing ideas, whether it's in the beer world or in the kombucha world or in the wine world or the spirits world. Everybody has something to give to each other, and we just have to kind of be a little more open to how those ideas can affect our products. Like here, we try to think outside the box, and that can lead to innovation and some really fun experiences and some great new relationships. So I'd say that's what drives us to collaborate, and we'll never stop, I don't think.
Dave, do you want to speak to that too, from a perspective from Side Launch?
Yeah, sure. I mean, certainly after being in the brewing industry for 20 odd years in a handful of different places, one of the nice things about brewing is it's a pretty small community. Not all that different than living in a small community like this, where your network of peers through the industry, you work together in a place and then you end up in different places, and everyone picks up learning and networks and problem solving and product innovation. And I've been very fortunate to work with folks and have people work with us now who, have networks beyond that, up to including the people on this call. Christy and I were joking earlier about Christy rolling in here through a mutual acquaintance and talking about, we should make kombucha here. And then, I learned a whole lot about kombucha, and Christy, scared the pants off me relative to what we do. But on the flip side, got some really interesting ideas about the types of flavors and ingredients that Christy was using that have, parlayed into ideas for some of the beers we've made. So it's you make something at the end of the day, and there's something about people that make things that draws people in, both within your community and within your industry, that you're able to forge professional relationships and personal relationships. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't do anything else. Other than we were talking about, playing music. Music's the only thing I would ever give up brewing for, even though I can't play a musical instrument to save my life. But it's my only other passion that rivals this one.
That's great. Thanks. Jay, did you want to add to that too?
Yeah, I was just saying that I think, the collaboration, especially in the brewing world, it kind of goes hand in hand. I learned early on that really brewing is less about competition and more about high fives. And I think really we can say that about this community and all the people on this call. As mentioned, it's really great to have people that are close by that can help you solve problems and really carry the weight when things like supplies and packaging and labeling come into play. We've been lucky enough to have beers on tap as guest taps here. And because we really focus on the hospitality side of it, our servers are able to sell not only our beer, but we can push other breweries' beer from the area. And it really just links everything together.
Amazing.
Cassie, can I say one thing just as a public matter of gratitude to Northwind's, Black Bellows, and Chris over at Collingwood. Northwind's most recently loaned us some can lids that saved our bacon. Thank you guys for that. That was huge. And Peter, for use of your pH meter over a few months ago. Seriously, you take it for granted because there's a great people and comfortable with asking for stuff, but really bail you out when you need it and don't even think twice about it. Other than a few free beers here and there.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing community that we all have behind one another here. Scott, did you want to say something too?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in that I resonate with what our brewery brethren are saying about this, and Christy as well, that I have to tell you, even the first time I met Joshua, we went down to Gretzky's and you took about 2.5 hours out of your day. We didn't even know each other, but because we were both distillers, we went down and he gave us the full tour, and I signed our gin bottle and he signed his whiskey bottle, which incidentally is still up on my liquor cabinet. We're not cracking it open. That's Joshua's bottle. And I find that the whole culture is so collaborative, even that Shelley and Josh and I now are if we get sort of one more distiller in our area, we'll actually be the distilling capital of Canada. There's no other spot in Canada that has this many distilleries in one spot, and we're all in the same bloody building. So people will be able to stop and go location, 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 and we can help each other out. It's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, we kind of ended up starting our own distillery district by default. It's actually quite convenient. And Scott's been great about helping us.
Totally by accident, yeah.
That's incredible. That's something that the community is so proud to be a part of, right? Go ahead,
I'll weigh in
Christy.
a little bit, Cassie, too. So when I first came into this business, Chris Freeman and Dave Sands were hugely instrumental in teaching me about the process and gave me tours. The kombucha industry is super private and nobody wants to let anybody in. And so when I was trying to learn about tanks and lines and pumps and bottling things and all this stuff, Chris and Dave both they just opened their doors and invited me in, no problem. I had no idea what I was looking at. I wandered through their facilities just super big-eyed, what the hell are you talking about? And so I need another tour, you guys, because I think I actually know what's going on now. But that was hugely helpful. And then Scott and I have been collaborating from the beginning, and kombucha is a great mix. So we did a Cocktails with Purpose project last winter through the ski hills, and we developed a couple of cocktails using Heretic Spirits and Collingwood Kombucha and another local elixir company. And we had a huge amount of fun. And now with Georgian-based Spirit Company, I just dropped off a case of kombucha, and the team there are just going to have some fun and see what they can come up with in terms of beverage recipe design. And then Cassie at Lowdown, when the doors open again, her gift of being able to develop cocktails and mocktails is going to be super exciting for us, because kombucha has such an acidic nature and it can make a really great mix. And so I can't wait for Cassie's talent to shine through on that. So great community. I love being part of it.
Thanks, Christy. I can't wait. I can't wait to share your kombucha cocktails too. So, as everyone knows, 2020 has been quite an interesting year. I know, Peter, you touched on that a little bit, but I'm going to open up the idea of what's changed in your business in the last 8 months. How have you had to adapt? Tell us, a crazy story or what you think that everyone wants to hear. So, Josh, do you want to start with this one? You'll just have to unmute.
Yeah. A crazy story. It's thrown us for loops, right?
Yeah.
We're still in the construction process, so we had to shut down for a while, and it's delayed things a bit. So it's been really difficult. And then also being new to the area, normally you get out there and you get to know your fellow brewers and distillers a bit more and visit their facilities. But of course, you're dampered there as well a bit, right? So it's a little bit unfortunate. I think it's just been a bit difficult in general, right? But hopefully we're seeing the end of it, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully back to that last question too. Hopefully allows when we get out of it, we can get into some collaboration together, a little bit more collaboration together as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know everyone's looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. Scott, how about from Heretic? What's changed?
Well, if you had said to me after 3.5 years of trying to learn to make vodka and gin and working on our rum recipe, which is coming soon, that I would know how to make 600,000 liters of hand sanitizer in 7 months, I would have told you were insane. But now that's actually, we were very, very careful when we pivoted the business, because to be honest, I wish that the success we had on that came for any other reason, but it was needed in the market. We priced ourselves under the wholesale price of Purell, so we weren't gouging anyone. But yeah, now it's changed our business completely, because now we have 2 complete bottling lines that are able to do up to 150 bottles of hand sanitizer a minute. And now we're looking at contracts that are provincial-wide government contracts that, we didn't know we were going to do this, but what it's done now is it's meant that the ability to fund, a $500,000, 7,000 liter still, it's coming in 4 weeks. And so it's our investors gain confidence. We were able to help people, and yeah, I had no idea it was coming. But again, a lot of what happened came through the support of our friends and local community and the people who jumped in to help us bottling till 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday to get it out to the hospitals and places it needed to go. I'm really ready for our plant shutdown at Christmas. I need a break for a couple of weeks, but it's been really good.
Who else wants to speak on this? I know there's a lot to say. Jay? Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, for us and for Bellows as well, I think, like Scott, I think pivot is the word for 2020. And for us, we had to almost develop an entirely new restaurant, which dealt with takeout, and the struggles and protocols that were put in have all been followed. But I think for us, because we have such a unique situation in that our relationships with our guests are often have a beginning, a middle, and an end. We have a very close relationship with our guests, and we want to be sure that they're taken care of in the restaurant. But when we had to deal with takeout, it was an entirely new escapade, and we've developed products that lean towards that, and always looking for something new to keep our guests engaged and keep everyone still going forward.
Peter.
I'm sure it's the same for Side Launch and Collingwood and Northwinds, but it's worth saying, even we didn't switch to making hand sanitizer at 6,000 hex this year. That's crazy. But we, when we sort of built a little brew pub downtown, we thought of ourselves as being, it's a draft place. It's a place that people come for a pint. It's a comforting, a place to pour beer into a glass and drink it in the spot. And we thought of our retail store as a nice little add-on. Why not sell some beer in cans, at the retail store here? And that's just taken off like crazy. And it's, we don't even own our own canning line. So we bring a canning company in to help us do that. And from booking them months in advance and sort of lining things up in a way more sort of ahead of time kind of basis than we usually would. We've really had to pivot to that retail market and helping people get their beers at home from driving around and just like, you know, loading the car up with cases of beer and seeing the support from the community and dropping off the cases to people who want their beer with their dinner. You know, it's been really sad. It was sad, but it was also super satisfying to see how people really had in 2 months come to lock onto what they liked and deliver them that stuff to their homes. And often you even like a sort of distant masked meeting in their driveway. It's just been a kind of weird, fun, strange opportunity at the same time, because you have these interactions where it's just little things in 2020 that make or break your day, you know? And so getting your beer from somebody you like, and just getting the beer in the first place can be, you know, a wonderful thing. So I think the transition to canning being a huge thing for us was massive for sure. And I don't think it's slowing down really. It's just continued to happen. And so that's wonderful that people sort of understand that you can buy your beer directly from all these producers, or, you know, not just beer obviously, but that you can go directly to us and deal with us in person instead of, you know, having to go through the LCBO, or you don't necessarily think first, oh, I'm going to go buy my beer at the brewery, but you should. So yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah, and I think that Collingwood as a community has supported so many of the local breweries and restaurants and distilleries in coming to us and buying their beverages from all of us, rather than going to line up at the LCBO. And that's been amazing to see the support. Christy, did you want to speak on the topic? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the funny thing for me was, you know, after I got off the floor the first 2 weeks of lockdown and the reality of things, I was deemed essential. You know, I saw the grocery stores and independent retailers, and it was like, oh my God, I'm essential. I got to get up, you know, like I got to go to work. I got to make this happen. And so I got to hire 2 new people. My production went up. I went to home delivery. People want to have a fridge full of healthy, immune system supportive beverages in their fridge. We're now going into a subscription model, so you can have it once a week or once a month delivered right to your house. We're opening up across Southern Ontario. Like this has really helped us as well to grow, because kombucha became a 35% increase in retail. And everybody was clamoring to the store to buy oat milk and elderberry and kombucha. So for us, it's been a really great thing. But you know, it also depleted us in our goal of working with restaurants to be on tap and to have cocktails and go after ski hills, which now we're not sure we're going to be in this year. And so our food service business just completely shut down. And the retail is just because of small independent local, and the fact that you as consumers are all looking to buy local and to get things that are freshly made and that you can talk to the producer on has become so much more valuable and important to our community, is helping us tremendously. So thank you so much to all of you who are joining us tonight, because you make it happen for us for sure.
Great, thanks. My next question is actually one that someone has asked in the panel on the side, the chat room, sorry. So with Collingwood's beverage industry growing rapidly, what are you most excited for in the next 5 years? And that's from Thomas. Shelley.
Meeting people face to face when this is all over. So that would be like the best, because kind of pertaining to the last question, we've had to all change our marketing strategies. You do a lot of tastings when you do beverage industry stuff and food industry stuff, and we can't really do that. And it's nice to see and interact with people. And so doing something like this is great, but I'd like to actually, you know, like serve you a cocktail that I've made. I mean, Cassie, you can relate to it. Like when someone has that experience of having something that's absolutely delicious and it blows their mind, like you can't quite get the same feeling over Zoom. But we can try.
We definitely are trying.
I wanted to add on top of that, Cassie, the thing I'm really envisioning is, because we've got such a great community, like I had a plan that I was going to work on for this summer where we'd create a food truck festival. We have a huge parking lot out at our building, and I was envisioning Josh Georgian Bay Spirits and Freshwater Spirits and our group out there and bringing the brewers out and having all the food trucks from town and creating this giant thing that we hadn't seen before. So man, I can't wait for the days when we can do that coming up ahead. And I can see it. It will come. It will come.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think a couple of things I'm most excited for certainly is collaboration with all the amazing producers, whether it's production-wise and just maybe getting together and collaborating and making some great products, but even just sales-wise and figuring out how we can cross-promote and really make Collingwood even more of a draw coming up, and to see actually who else decides to settle in Collingwood and open up the next brewery, who's the next distillery, the next cidery, or whatever. So for us here at the Collingwood Brewery, we've actually just finished construction on a massive outdoor event space. Still in the process of licensing it, but there's lots of possibility there in music events happening. So really, back to the last question, really refocusing our business on this location. It's been quite something to see and support. So, yeah.
I'm going to ask another question, and this one is, any holiday-themed brews or flavors coming our way this year? Who's got something in the works? Shelley, go ahead.
Well, we've kind of put together actually more of a cocktail plan. So what we're trying to do in the future, I mean, we're going to obviously have some specialty stuff coming out, but we're actually putting together like warm winter cocktails because people are going to be outside having things on patios, these types of things. And gin is considered usually a very summery kind of drink, but there's actually a lot of traditional great warm kind of drinks that you can top up, and you can serve it really nicely for the holidays. And that's kind of what we're kind of going for as well. And we're going to have actually a winter drink PDF that you can download all of our recipes from our website in a couple days.
What's the one you're most excited about?
I really like this one, and it's called the Hot Gin Twist, actually. And it was done by, it's actually one of the most traditional drinks that you can have that's a hot gin one. So the Thames in London froze over in 1822, and this was all the rage for keeping Londoners warm. So a poet actually wrote 149 lines to this, and it's just got lemon juice, simple syrup or white sugar, a lemon twist, and hot water and gin.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Peter, what are you guys working on?
It's been a really, I'm sure all the brewers feel the same way about the winter, which is like it's a great time to just brew things with extra strength, and that's kind of fun because usually during our highest sales times of the year, that's just not what anybody wants to drink in the summertime or is interested in. But for this brief moment in time, people are interested in dark, strong beers, and we've got an 11% black lager that we just finished fermenting and is now cold lagering for as long as I feel like, but hopefully released before Christmas. I've got a test batch that I'm just drinking here.
Did you say 11%?
And then it's delicious. It's so velvety. But then we've got a large oak vessel that fits 3,500 liters back there, and we blended it with 700 pounds of apricots, which that should be a delicious, slightly tart, but again a little stronger, just kind of something unique to release for the holidays. A couple bottles that we just think we can do for a special one-time thing, and we won't really hope to have those things all the time. Obviously, it's not something, and that's the beauty of being a small producer, is that you can, kind of work on just for your own pleasure and the pleasure of those around you to release something like that. Really, it's just for the community and for the people who get that. There's not going to be that many bottles, but hey, it's fun.
That is fun. Christy.
So we are working with hibiscus. So my family is from Trinidad, and Deidre Morris, who owns Ashanti Coffee in Collingwood, she's from Jamaica, and there's this traditional Caribbean drink that's served at Christmas time called sorrel, and it's made with hibiscus flower, sorrel flowers, cinnamon, and clove. And it's typically served with rum on ice and a squeeze of lemon. And it's really heavily acidic. It's got quite a bit of citrusy flavor. So I've developed a sorrel flavor. It's going to be on tap at Ashanti. So it'll just be for refills. We'll just do some small batches. The beauty of being a small craft producer is I can do five gallons at a time and stick it on tap so people can go fill up their bottles. And it's really, my mom thinks kombucha is horrible and she's been drinking it with rum and loves it. So anything that will convert people to something healthy. So we're excited about that.
I feel like the hibiscus would go really well with tequila too. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I love hibiscus. That's great. Rum makes everything amazing. Yeah, in terms of beers, well, Peter, I'm too old for high test stuff, but we do have a couple of nice dark beers coming out. We're depackaging vanilla oatmeal stout. It'll be shipping out to LCBO starting in a couple of weeks, but something I'm even more excited about is a Black Forest Porter. So yesterday or 2 days ago, I hauled 200 kilograms of cherries to the top of the tank and dumped them into this beautiful dark beer. And then we'll be adding the chocolate as well. So it's going to be a cherry chocolate porter. Yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. And that's one of our very small batches of Freestyle series that we just released straight out of the brewery. Really pumped about it.
It'll probably be sold out right away now after you've just sold it to everyone watching.
After our case,
I drank half of it first.
Yeah. You mind to go, Cassie?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, just very much like Shelley, our team has been working very diligently to create a couple of cocktails. The one that we should release this week, if everyone wants to keep an eye on hereticspirits.com and on our social media, is we've come up with a number of cocktails, but my favorite by far is the Holiday Heretic Hooch. Oh my God. There's chocolate and cream and whipped cream and peppermint and then some vodka in there. And we did a sampling for the whole distillery and our supplier team. And it was really something. We're definitely going to serve it at Christmas this year.
That does sound amazing. I'm going to ask you a couple questions as well. So I'm going to start. Peter, tell us how you come up with naming your beers at Black Bellows.
We have a really rigid system, and it's only one. There's really only one way that it's just whatever comes to top of my mind first gets printed on the can and memorialized forever. It's totally. I wish there was a better, a more systematic thing, but I try to stay true to our kind of spirit of, creative craft community. So if we can be creative, do something unexpected, make people think, maybe make people think it's risky, then that's in our ballpark. So yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, it's mostly just me. Thinking of whatever I think is witty or funny on the day, and sort of relates to the style of beer. Like we made a Schwarzbier, which is a German style black lager, and I just thought that should be named Kink because it reminded me of, and so I just named it that, and that was what it is. And it's not, there's nothing special or kind of, there's no deeper meaning to it other than just I thought that was funny. But yeah, that's usually how we go about it.
Lots of R&D involved.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of market reading. We sound it off. We have a very large marketing panel. We make sure everybody is approving of the name.
Peter, there's a question here from Kevin. If I donate to the hospital, can I name a beer?
If you donate to the hospital, can I name a beer? I guess how much are you donating? But I think that's a great idea.
That's sounds like a great fundraiser.
It does. We'd have to talk more about it.
I think the biggest thing we're accomplishing tonight is showing Joshua, Josh is our newest team member to the area here, how much he really made the right choice by moving up to Collingwood.
It's true. Based on that King response, I think I'm in the right spot.
Josh, my next question is actually for you. The ready-to-drink or RTD craft cocktails in a can have been a huge success for your brand. Can you tell us, maybe about when the Georgian Bay Gin Smash was launched and what happened, and were you a part of that?
That is a little bit before my time, to tell you the truth.
But
So
how's it taken off, all the craft cocktails that you're doing?
Oh, it's taken off tremendously, right? I think the key, the key to it is to make really well-balanced, adventurous kind of RTDs. I think there's a lot of them out there that don't suit my palate and probably wouldn't suit a lot of the brewers' palates. But if you try to make it a little more adventurous, well-balanced, more of a cocktail style, then I think you're going to do pretty well. And I think that's what we've always tried to do, and we've achieved pretty well, and we've reaped the rewards.
Next question is for Jay. Of all of our producers, Northwinds is the only one that is not available in the LCBO. Can you explain to us why that is?
I think, when we set out, we had one goal, and that was to satisfy the people in our room and provide great hospitality and service and an incredible experience to the guests that come and see us every day. With that, we've been lucky. We've had trouble keeping up with the volume just in the seats and going out of our retail store since then. And then having the opportunity to open a restaurant in the village at Blue Mountain as well was something that extended us and gave us a great goal to achieve. It's mainly, I think, a volume issue. And who knows, maybe someday we will have a bigger brewery or production, but time will tell.
Thanks. Dave, Side Launch has really developed its portfolio over the last few years. I know when you started, it was a base, 3 or 4 kind of core brands, and now you have so many different small craft brands that you're doing. So can you explain, how you guys made that change and what you're excited about right now?
Sure. Like a lot of brewers, we started in a time when you made the same products for a long period of time. We still see it in the marketplace today, and some people, still sell the same things they launched with. Like Chris, we started at a time where the consumer was after more variety, and you may have a few products that continue over time, but really the folks in the market are looking for new stuff, new innovation, both in your tap room, your brewery, or the LCBO. So we had to move pretty fast to catch up to a degree. Launching Dry Hop Sour a couple of years ago, it did well for us. We liked it, and we're able to build upon that with a handful of sour line extensions, with still being true to our roots in that, and building into other places, be it hoppy beers, spice beers, and I think we went into it saying, how do we stay true to our roots, stay true to being an artisan, but be a culinary brewer. The old brewing definitions of style kind of went out the window. Using exclusively the Reinheitsgebot kind of went out the window, and said, how do we make really good brewed beverages that people want to drink at the end of the day? And once we adopted that, really, it was a really great place to be as someone who makes beer, because we had so many options. I'm excited. We just put our mule beer into the LCBO, inspired by my cocktail friends. Is a bit of a crossover using lime, Thai ginger, and a capsicum extract, which has been a surprising fall hit. We thought it was more of a summer play, but it's really done well for us. Light IPA, like Chris, I think maybe we're of about the same vintage. Big IPAs not usually leading to me sleeping on the couch. So hoppy, flavorful beers that don't put me to bed. And then keeping going with that, what's that, Peter?
Nothing wrong with sleeping on the couch. Come on.
No, I'm a professional, but so it's how do we get lots of flavor in interesting ways, like all the other producers on this, and really, having a few rules that we're comfortable with, but not being beholden to doing things the same way for eternity. So we've got for our winter portfolio, we've got a coffee vanilla. What am I forgetting? Coffee vanilla lactose build on our midnight lager, and playing around with a Coco Vesa, a spin of a Coco Vesa stout. Although I got to get my act together and get that thing brewed here. We just can't decide on what it is. Too many options. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. But it's just it's how can we make beer interesting to people over time is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was there not too long ago, and just seeing how many you guys have expanded to is pretty amazing. So congratulations on that.
I mean, one of the perks of COVID, if there is such a thing, is we've had a significant increase in traffic to our brewery, which gives us a place to sell more small batch beer to people. So as a brewer, we can make things that we can move at a reasonable scale and then make new things. Whereas in the past we had a bit of that, but not to the same degree. So it's been great as a brewer to have an outlet as a local producer of people buying from local businesses to sell that stuff, where we don't need to get into the LCBO with everything. Like Chris is for sure doing that, and Peter is kind of his core model. It's been a nice perk, if I can say that.
That's great. I'm going to go to you, Shelley. Can you explain to us your two bottles, clear water and dark water? You got them there? Oh, you're muted. Unmute, yeah.
Yep, sorry, that's a rookie move. So this is dark water. This is basically we're always using a organic grain base, corn base for both of the gins. And then we decided to have, because gins, as we all know, and everybody can attest to this, they're all so different, which is why it's huge with people, because everybody has their different tastes, much like different beers, right? So this one actually we call it dark water. Obviously it represents Georgian Bay. We wanted to have something that kind of brought out the stormy waters of our locale here. Everybody can see the storms coming off the bay. That kind of inspired this one. And this one has a lot of apple-y tones in it. It's a little bit sweeter than the other one. So this one you can have on the rocks or in any type of sweeter kind of cocktail or something that would have a cinnamon to it, because it mixes really nicely with it. So we kind of enjoy it for that. We also can use it in something we also call the hibernating bear, which is we took a Duntroon Standing Rock cider, we put it over a stove and basically on a low heat with a cinnamon and a couple cloves, and we have that also in our recipe book. And so you can have that as kind of a warm local drink. We wanted something along the lines of mulled wine, but more Collingwood local base. And then this one here is your Clearwater gin. And this one actually has a chai finish to it. So it's got actual chai spice. We took, my cousin actually owns a spice shop, so I've been involved with spices for quite some time. So we decided to kind of end just at the delicate chai note, and actually goes really well in Caesars. Of course, you can also have it on the rocks or whatever, but it's got a really nice kind of warmer finish to it. So we wanted to have two products that were just complemented each other and that everybody could try it for different kind of purposes.
They both sound incredible. Christy, can you tell us, and I'm sure you have to answer this question all the time, what the heck is a SCOBY?
A SCOBY. We almost named our company Scooby-Doo or something ridiculous. But a SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. And so just like with fermented sourdough bread, there's a culture that is handed down traditionally, and it helps to basically start the fermentation process. So it takes the sweet tea to an acidity level that's safe, that none of the bad pathogens can grow in, and it kind of kickstarts the fermentation process. So in vinegar, they call that a mother. And in sourdough, it's the starter, and in kombucha, it's the SCOBY.
I'm sure you get it asked all the time, but
And it's really actually, yeah. There's actually I have an opinion about it. Like the SCOBY to me is the actual finished kombucha, but a lot of people call the pellicle, which is the mat that grows on top. So during the fermentation process, the bacteria and yeast consume sugar, and cellulose is a byproduct of that consumption. And so a little mat grows on the top of the barrels and seals in what's happening, the fermentation underneath. And so that's called a pellicle. That's the chemistry word for it. But people call that the SCOBY, and then they think that that is the thing that needs to carry on. But for me, in my mind, the actual kombucha itself, the liquid, is the SCOBY. That's the culture, because all the bacteria and yeast are living within that culture when it's alive anyways. So, but most people traditionally call that mat the SCOBY.
You just blew all of our minds with that answer, so that's great.
I love how deep you got there. You can see the passion.
I know. She's thinking and explaining. Scott, tell us, what is a Heretic? What is the brand? You got to give everyone the backstory.
I will. So a Heretic, even though we've had a couple of people attack us who are of religious background, a heretic is not about religious at all. A heretic is someone who thinks differently. And my response to them is actually, Jesus was a heretic because he didn't agree with the Romans. So he thought differently, so he was a heretic. So the essence of what we're trying to create is a brand that brings new experiences to our, everyone who's trying our product. Our goal is to make it something you've always had and never had at the same time. So something completely unique. And that's been resonated as Shelley and the team have done a great job on their gins, and Josh does a great job on his products. We, took great care in our gin, for example. So our botanicals we use, there's 14 botanicals that come from all over the world. We actually spend as much money importing our botanicals as we do on the botanicals. And that was because we wanted to have like absolutely the best that we could get our hands on. So in the coming year, we're really excited what's coming up. Everyone on this call is going to think they're all going to geek out on this. We have a 7,000 liter mash tun and still arriving in 4 weeks. So we've been working on it for years, and I'm so excited to get this in and get it sitting on the floor and getting it hooked up. It's a huge unit, and it's going to be one of the largest craft distillery stills in Canada, actually.
Nice. I can't wait to see that.
Exciting. Big things are coming.
I've been waiting for months. And I should mention as well that in keeping with what we've done with local here, a lot of distilleries will buy their equipment from China these days, and that there's nothing wrong with it. It's excellent equipment. However, for our big system, we made the choice to purchase from Specific Mechanical, who actually, when we placed the order, started manufacturing the equipment in Victoria Island. They rolled all the copper. They did the whole thing. They've been sending us updates. So we actually bought a Canadian manufacturer, of which there are not many. And so we're really, really proud of the fact that we were able to buy in Canada, Canadian product and made here. So it was really, really exciting for us. And actually, Chris understands because they're running Specific Mechanical equipment over there.
Chris, my next question is coming to you. What do you anticipate are the next trends in the beer world in the next 5 years? Where's things going? 1 year. Let's just go 1 year. In the next year, what do you see happening? You're muted, Chris.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, no, I'm just. Yeah, that's a fabulous question and almost impossible to answer. I'm going to say I don't have an R&D department like Anheuser-Busch to figure out what people are going to want to drink next summer. So, I mean, I can only speak to our experience. The way our business is going is that more and more we're going to be pursuing or focusing locally and selling out of our front door. So, I mean, if the question is specifically about what people want to drink, I mean, there's all the stuff that's hot now, whether it's sours or easy IPAs, juicy this, juicy that. Those are all popular now, and it's a fickle crowd out there, and it's hard to know what the actual consumer trends are going to be. But I think, if I had to guess, And maybe it's my age speaking. Just lots of flavor, lower ABV beverages. The sour train, I think, is going to continue. Something we haven't actually jumped on yet. But this Sour Dave is amazing. But for us, I think people are going to be, especially in this climate with COVID, will be focusing on supporting their local producers and being more interested in what's going on at their local distilleries or cideries or breweries, what have you. So that's kind of what we're anticipating. We're going to be producing more of our small batch beers to satisfy the experimental nature of the craft beer consumer.
That's great. Something to look forward to. So we're getting close to the end of our discussion here, but I really think we could be talking for another hour between all of us, 2 hours. I feel like there's so much more to say. So I think maybe a part 2 could be in the works at some point. We could all come back and have everyone speak on how things continue to develop. So I just want to talk a little bit about the Collingwood Craft Beverage Tour. This is what your passports look like. There's 8 stops in Collingwood. You can go around, sample, taste. Inside, there's the map that's going to show you where you can go, and you can collect stickers at each of these spots. You can go to craftbeveragecapital.ca, and that'll give you the rules on how to enter a contest. There's lots of prizes and all the information of where all these different distilleries, breweries, and kombucheries are located. So when you're out and about, make sure you're taking pictures, tagging us on Instagram, #Seawood Craft Beverage Tour. And really, we just want to thank everyone for coming out and listening tonight. We want to thank our sponsors, the Town of Collingwood, the BIA, Julie at mycollingwood.ca, and the Foundry. So thank you to our panelists for speaking tonight, and thank you to all of our attendees. Thank you for listening. We hope that this was a very informative discussion. And let's raise our glasses again to the Collingwood Craft Beverage Tour. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Get out and enjoy.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you around.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
Everybody. See you soon.